What's going on, everyone? Sid Gordon here with Core Medical Group, and I have fan favorites, Miss Erica Redman and Jason Redman here. So excited to have you guys in town. Inspiring to so many people, especially myself, a part of the core team, and we had a great morning together. I want to thank you guys first and foremost for that. We have a brand video coming out, everyone, and the Redmans are deeply involved in it, and it tells me I'm doing something right when you have guys and girls like this on your team. So, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for being here, and hope there's going to be many years to come.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been a great day.
Good.
You built a great thing. We're proud to be part of the team, that's for sure.
So today I want to chat a little bit about everyone's experience overall and the lifestyle changes, right? Because that's really what we all focus on, and inspiring people to be better. And on top of that, things that maybe I've been through, Erica's been through, Jason's been through, that have really showed us gratitude to stay inspired and to move forward, and even to look back on bad things that have happened and focus on good things that can come. And so for me, to start off, really, I grew up in a childhood that was difficult, right? I had a uncomfortable household for a long time, and I feel like for me, my first step was to break that chain, and I wanted to have a chain of a healthy, happy household. And I feel like I'm accomplishing that now, even through a divorce. I try to find a lot of time for my kids, find a lot of time for my fiance. My youngest daughter, I don't have a choice because she clings to me like a tick, but which is good. It says I'm doing something right there again, too. But, for you guys who've been so successful, going through so much stuff, and I just really want to have a conversation as deep as you guys want to get to the people out there that really need some inspiration, how to keep that family unit together and kind of what that takes.
I mean, I love, your analogy of talking about a choice, that this was something important to you. So I think it's interesting, both Jason and I both come from broken households. And so for us, it was very intentional. I mean, we knew that you can learn from it or you can repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
But
and bad relationships. When we met each other, we both were coming out of bad relationships.
So I think we definitely knew what we wanted, made sure that our goals and everything were aligned. But we knew that kind of what we had both gone through, we didn't want our children to go through that. Not that either of our upbringing was horrible, but just we definitely chose to do it different.
There was a lot of drama, I think, on both sides. I mean, there wasn't physical, there wasn't any abuse, but
Physical.
And not intentional mental or emotional abuse,
yeah.
But what it was on both sides, on Erica's side and my side, our parents would play off each other. And they would the little comments, the little disruptions at events and things like that, because they didn't like each other. And I saw it throughout my life, how it impacted different things that I was at. I watched it ruin multiple things with my older sister's stuff. And I think both of us went into that with like, that shit's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think we've always tried to be very aligned with our family, with our kids. Our kids have never played off one another or oh, mom said no, so let me go ask dad. We were always very united. Even if we didn't agree, we were a united front, and then maybe we have a conversation behind the scenes of okay.
We would never contradict each other in front of each other.
Yeah.
I was saying that my wife is right every single time, even if she's wrong. But then when we have a conversation later, things might change a little bit. But as far as when there's another party involved, no matter what, she's right.
Yeah.
And that type of stuff. Sometimes it's hard because you're sitting there what, she might be wrong here, but whatever, But the most important thing is the people through the threshold of that door inside your home, and without having each other's back 150%, it's really hard to maintain that course. And every time that I get off track inside the household, it normally ends real bad, right? Because there's no one that really wants to fight. Some people just weren't taught right, and that's all they know is to fight.
Yeah.
And For me, that was like the hardest thing for me because I really didn't have a father growing up, so mentorship was tough, and I was hanging around a bad crowd of people, so that didn't really help the whole. And then you get into a relationship with someone that you really love, and there's really no playbook for it, right? So you're trying to figure that out. So with your kids, what do you guys try to instill in them? Like, what's the biggest thing there? And the reason why I want to start with the family unit is because there's no way in the world that you guys both could be this successful without that family unit.
No, not at all. And let's back up for a second before we even got to the kids. I think oftentimes I meet a lot of individuals who get off track, men, specifically who think, hey, I'm the leader of my family. And they translate this idea of leadership almost into dictatorship. And hey, I'm the boss. I make the decisions. You don't have say. And you're here to help, facilitate my journey, which is the wrong approach to take. As you do need to be a leader. As a guy, you need to set that example. You should be that strength. You should be that protector. But we were a team. And especially coming from a military family where I was gone all the time, who ran the household? She did. And I didn't come home in between trips or deployments and be like, oh, I'm home now, so I'm going to be making these decisions. No, I recognize, look, you've been doing this for months, years now. Like, I'm here to help support you now and help be there for the kids and be present. And I think understanding that you're a team and you're working together, like everything that we did from the very beginning was shared. It wasn't, hey, that's yours and this is mine. Once we married, our bank accounts were together. Our goals, our dreams, everything was together. And so, yeah, now if you want to translate that to your kids, that's the front we've raised our kids with. We're a team working together towards our goals, towards our dreams. We tackle our problems together. We tackle our challenges. Sometimes we, argue through things, but we do it together and we figure out how to do that. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think, we haven't really dictated or, told the kids. I think we've really tried to lead by example. I think we never really had an issue with back talk or them being, out of control or, anything like that because we didn't talk to each other that way. Like that just wasn't acceptable in our house. Like, I mean, they learn things, they model it. So, they definitely they're a product of what they're around. And I've seen some kids that I'm just like, oh, like I shocked at like their behavior or back talk or something like that. But it's got to be learned. It's got to be, and it is amazing. Sometimes we wonder, like, are our kids, like, do they get it? Are they listening to us? Like, is anything sinking in? And now that our kids are getting a little bit older, I mean, our daughter's one of our coaches in our group. Yeah. And to hear our kids, like, using some of our, of Jason's, terms and some of the verbiage, it's pretty, they do get it.
So I was working on a behavior that I had with, I'd pick my kid up from school, Jada specifically, and Jordan, my oldest, and I'd pick him up. Hey, how's Jay? Good. Oh, the phone would ring, and I'd get on the phone and drive home and not even speak to my child in the front seat of the car. And I realized it on my own, like, geez, this is like not really good right here, right? I have some one-on-one time with my kid. I need to take advantage of it. And, with Juliet now, when I get in the car, I put the phone on the floor in the passenger seat so I can't get to it. And I try to have a conversation with her, right? And sometimes I wish I had the phone back because she's driving me crazy, but it's amazing. But the one thing I'll tell you that was a benefit from that is my son came to me on my birthday this past year. And I apologized to both the kids about it. I said, hey, guys, I was distant a lot of times, and I should have been more present when it was especially one-on-one. And my son has a great business right now. He started his own IT firm. He does really well. And he said to me, he's like, Sid, my stepson, he says, Sid, those phone conversations that I listened to since the age of 4 really helped me today in business. And there's other ways to do that, right? But like it made me feel like not as much of an asshole, but they're paying close attention. I mean,
100%.
They're paying close attention. And when we have when there's the screaming matches inside the houses, it's it's not it's not pretty, you know, and then they think that that's the norm when they get older, and then that just carries on and on. And to the audience out there, like I really look up to Jason, Erica as a family unit. So I just wanted to start this off in that direction, because every time I speak with Jason, Erica's there to support. She has her 2 cents, and they both know what's going on in each other's business life, personal life, like consistently, and that team atmosphere is consistently there. So if you're out there, I can promise you one thing, and my business mentor told me this, and he's one of the smartest guys on earth. If you don't have a good woman in your life that supports you really, really deeply, it's going to be real hard to get to that finish line.
Well, I mean, we talked about it the other day. I mean, the most important teammate, and Erica and I are talking about launching a podcast with that name, because in this life, no matter how strong you are, at some point you're going to have challenges. I mean, man, look at me, totally wounded, laying in a hospital bed, clinging to life. And Erica was my most important teammate. Erica was leading the charge. She was, and I don't think I would have made
a doctor.
Oh my God, man! I don't think I would have made it through that. You know, that moment when she walked in that room and told me we're going to be okay was probably one of the most powerful moments I needed in that moment. To be like, yes, you're at my side. Like, I don't care what's going on. I can do this. And for people to understand that no matter how strong you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter creative, no matter how much money you have, at some point, man, you're going to get punched in the face, or you're going to get shot in the face with life. And having that person there that can back you up. I mean, I think that's one of the strongest things about us. You know, neither of us really came from money. And we're doing pretty good now. I mean, we're not killing it, but we're doing pretty damn good. But you know what's amazing about it? I know for both of us, it could all be gone tomorrow. It'd be no big deal. So what? Whoopee. And that's a powerful thing, because we're aligned in that. It's not like, oh, you know, I had a coaching client once who was so wrapped around, oh my God, what if I lose this? He had achieved a decent level of success, but he lived his life in fear over losing everything. And,
Yes.
And, you know, I think we have just been blessed to be together, and we've grown something. We've grown an amazing family. And you know what? We have today, we have each other. Nothing else really matters. I mean, if we continue to be successful, that's great. And if we don't, well, guess what? We can live in
figure it out.
yeah,
We'll
we'll have a
out.
tent on the beach in Florida and enjoy it.
So that I was at, Jason just said, we're going to be fine because we have each other, right? I was in.
Yep.
So one of the interesting things that I've noticed is when it comes down to finance is when you start to worry about loss of money, or how you're going to make money, or how to capitalize in different directions to make money. That's when the big problem comes. When you're concerned about losing it, you're not confident in yourself. And that confidence, that mental state of, oh my gosh, what happens if I lose this $2 million? I have to start over again. The mentality of it has to be, you can take everything from me today, and next year I'll be right back to where I am right now. And like, that's the way that I like to talk to people that have that type of thought process. And, you know, having that confidence in your team, not just yourself. There's no such thing as self-made. Like, none of us can do this by ourselves, right? There's no way in the world. There's just, it's impossible without the whole team that was there today. Core wouldn't be what it is today. Without my mother having birthed me, I wouldn't be where I am today. Self-made doesn't exist. So we have to find that group of people that we can surround ourselves with to really help us thrive and have that peace of, like, I have a great community, nothing bad is going to happen. And once you start thinking bad things are going to happen, typically they do. And I feel bad for the people that live in that, because it's hard. You're basically divorcing your money. You're divorcing the thought that you can be as successful as you deserve to be. You got there for a reason, you know, unless you're a lucky sperm cell, right? Someone just gave it to me. You gave it to me.
I mean,
you are kind of lucky.
Yeah, I think we're both fortunate that we're not negative thinkers, that we don't think like, ooh, worst case scenario. I think we're both like, you know, always leaning forward and, you know, just moving forward and moving the needle. So we don't, you know, and I'm thankful that I think we align in that we don't dwell on negative stuff and the what
we don't
ifs.
do things reckless. I mean, we look at, okay, what are the pros and cons? What are the risks? But we also don't allow that to stop us from driving forward. If we see an opportunity and it looks good, then we're like, let's do this. And yeah, we've been fortunate.
Usually we align.
Yeah, we almost we almost always
It's healthy to
align.
argue a little bit. It's healthy to argue a little bit, right? So talk to me about this new coaching group that you guys have going on with Pedros.
Yeah, so pretty honored. I've done some of my own coaching, but obviously I am very deep into coaching on leadership, on resilience. Those are the topics that I'm just a beast in. Where I'm learning is obviously the entrepreneurial space. I mean, for me, we've only been doing this for roughly 10 years since I retired, whereas Bedros for almost 30 years has built multiple businesses. I mean, he's worth about $200 million. And he has coached some of the highest level people. And he said, hey, would you be interested in doing a coaching group with me? And one other individual, Bryce Henson, who is now running Bedros' Fit Body Bootcamp, Fortune 100 company. I believe they have about 600 locations in 5 countries now. So now you have 3 amazing individuals with different skill sets and experience. You know, Bedros with the high-level entrepreneurship, wealth building side. We have Bryce with the scaling and structuring a business side, and then you have me with the leadership and resilience and human mindset side. And together we created the Legacy Tribe with the idea that I think in this life, anyone who is worth their salt wants to leave behind some kind of legacy. And I don't care who you are. I mean, even if you're someone who is so afraid of life and not getting out there, deep down inside, when you're sitting there thinking, you're like, man, I wonder how I will be remembered in this life. We all think it. It is a human trait. That's called a legacy. What is the impact I will leave behind for the people around me, my family, my kids? I think we all want to leave behind a great legacy, and that's what the Legacy Tribe is about. How do you level up personally, physically, and professionally in your life?
So if I were to decide to join the team, what does that look like for me?
So you would just, because Bedros is smart, it's not open all the time. You got to be paying attention, and once a quarter, we open it up. You have a week to sign up and join. And if you miss out, you're going to have to wait to the next quarter, which means you're missing out on that level of information. We also are bringing on amazing guest coaches. Mel Chancey happens to be one of the people that's rogered up to join us. Mel,
That's
to
really
talk about
neat.
transformational life. I mean, look at a guy who turned his life around and is driving it in a whole nother direction, making this incredible impact on people. So yeah, all you have to do is say, hey, I want to be part of the Legacy Tribe.
Is it face to face? Is it through Zoom? How does it work exactly?
It is. So it's through Zoom. So we have a Facebook group where everybody can talk with each other. We're going on and making comments. Oftentimes people may ask a question. I've done a lot of little videos so far where I'm just like, hey, I can answer that question, so I'll answer it with a little video. Once a week, we have a live, and that rotates through the coaches. So the first Wednesday of every month is Bedros. Second Wednesday is Bryce. I'm the third Wednesday, and the fourth Wednesday of every month is a guest coach. And right now, and man, between the 3 of us, we know some pretty amazing people. So our first coach coming up this month, we just launched it. Our first coach will be Don Saladino. Don is the, everybody marveled at how good Hugh Jackman looked, how good Ryan Reynolds looked, how good Sebastian Stan looked, all these members of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Don Saladino is the guy that's trained them. He's been multiple muscle and fitness cover. He runs their podcast. He is just a beast when it comes to training individuals. So Don is going to be our first one on high-level fitness and optimization and training.
So what's attractive on the entrepreneurial side for a guy like me would be the network itself. Talk to me about the network, the different types of people that are going to be. Do you have access to those people?
Yeah, I mean, you will be able to. So we will have different, whether it's the high-level coaches that we bring on.
I'm talking about the community itself.
Oh, you have access to everybody in the community. And that's one of the things I encourage people to do in the community. For instance, one of the individuals asked, hey, I come from a medical profession. Are there going to be other medical people? Right now, I can tick off at least 6 or 7 different individuals that come from different aspects of the medical whether it's optimization. I know we have some individuals that are in the, we have one individual that's in tissue release, fascia type stuff. You have individuals who are in the physical rehabilitation space. And all of these people are looking at, how do I scale my business? So on one side, you get the entrepreneurial branding advice. On the other side, you have the ability to talk to other people and find out, well, how did you do this?
There is also, is it one or two? There is an in-person event once or twice a year. So I mean, it's great that the virtual, makes it accessible to everybody, and you've got all this great stuff. But I still think, bringing everybody together in person,
getting to
that's
talk to them and getting to meet them face to face will be amazing.
Yeah, and you get so the individuals who first signed up, they're free. In the future, though, because obviously scaling, we can't just cover everybody when we start getting to larger amounts, but everybody else, it's a discounted rate to be able to go to that event. BK Live, amazing event where you get to go in person and meet all these different people.
There's also the
Muskogee Challenge. Yeah. So you get to go out to, Bedros has a big ranch that he's running with Dan Fleischman. Dan is like the who's who of marketing guys. I mean, he's the marketing guy for some of your top Hollywood celebrities. So you'll get to meet Dan, and you'll be a part. And the Muskogee Challenge typically is a physical challenge done for about 24 hours, but everybody's together and they're grinding through and encouraging everybody.
Right. So the biggest thing for me, the pivot point for me to where I went from doing okay to amazing was my network. Right, because you're struggling to find out where to go for what, who to talk to for this. Should I be spending this money or not? And it takes some time to build that community. So it sounds like this might take shave some time off the clock for people that are really looking to grow quickly. Even to find someone to, when you open up a brand new office in Virginia and you're not from there, you need a plumber, you're spending time doing that. But here I pick up the phone and call. It's all the small things like that add up. So those networks for me are super important. I wish they had them when I started this business 15 years ago. Social media wasn't what it is today, but the outreach for community is huge. I mean, just to be able to. I say the same thing all the time to people. I say, you go to a guy who's super wealthy and you ask him for help, 99.9% of the time they're not going to say no because you're stroking their ego, and no one does it. Everyone's afraid, they're nervous. And, and reaching out and into these communities and helping other people really is fulfilling. So I mean, it's congratulations. I think that's going to be absolutely amazing. And I'd love to be a part of it in some way if possible.
We'd love to see you there, man. You bring a lot to the table too.
Thank you. So speaking engagements, how do you manage this? Because it is I think I've seen Jason in 6 different countries in 4 different states in 2 days.
Yeah, it
feels that way.
It's crazy. So we, but not only do we have Jason Redman's schedule, we also have Eagle Rise Network. So for us,
talk about that for us.
Yeah.
How do you get involved in that?
So about 2018, it was really a group of our friends that were all like, "Hey, let's support each other's books." Okay, that made sense. Let's, all military, first responder, let's support each other. It's our network. And I was like, well, let's take this a step further. Let's create a speaker, bureau. We changed that. I don't like the word bureau. I feel like it's got a stale connotation. I feel like it's very, so we changed it to network. It's really what we want it to be, as a network of individuals. So now we have about 30. So there's 4 of us that help coordinate Jason's schedule and events, and also represent about 30 other amazing speakers. So it's growing, it's doing really well, and it's exciting.
And next year we're launching an expanded program, something that a lot of people have been asking for years. And that is, hey, how do I get into speaking? Or, hey, how do I dial in my speaking? How do I get better at speaking?
Yeah.
How do I write a book? All these things that we're releasing our 4th book. Our marriage book was picked up by HarperCollins, which is a big deal to get picked up by national, it's harder and harder to get picked up by national publishing houses now. So yeah, next year we're going to be launching our speaker workshops, and we're lucky. We've partnered with some other companies, some branding companies. So we will be teaching you about building your brand, about getting out there, about speech development, about presentation development, about visual aids, about how you structure and deliver a speech. You know, if I know parts of your story and I watch you speak and I'm like, well, why didn't you talk about this? 90% of the time people say, well, I'm uncomfortable talking about that. And I'm like, listen, man, you got to get past that, because that is what people relate to. When we go through trauma, when we go through pain, when we go through struggle, other people are like, God, I relate to that. I've been through that too. And if you can flow that into your speeches, holy smokes, man, you will expand your capabilities. So those are all the things we're teaching. So we're really excited to be launching that next year. And it's going to be an opportunity twofold. So for us, we'll be able to see, hey, wow, you got great chops. You got the goods. Let's invite you to be a member of Eagle Rise Speakers Network. So now we'll help you with representation. And if not, then we'll give you the guidance and say, okay, you know what? You need some more reps, like anything in this life. You know, don't get discouraged. You know, let me tell you how to go out, you know, work within some of the different organizations within your town and community, but you need to get in front of more people and practice your craft a little more before you're ready to go to the professional level.
So speaking is something I'm working on, right? And it's, you could be the best mid hitter in the gym, hitting pads, but once you have to go and spar, and someone's throwing punches back at you, guess what? All that stuff goes out the window. And it's the same thing with me for speaking. When I sit there and I speak and I practice my speech, I'm fine. But once I stand out and there's 300 or 400 or 500 people in front of me, it's a game changer. And I mean, it doesn't even faze you, right? It doesn't faze you because you know your delivery is so important and so beneficial. And I think that confidence boost of having someone like you telling them, listen, you're doing fine. You know, a lot of people don't even have the faith to understand. I've heard people speak and they're like, that was horrible, right? And I'm like, no, dude, that was freaking amazing, right? Some people are doing it for a rise or, you know, positive reinforcement. But I've definitely seen people sincere be like, was that any good? Like Cody even. Like, he's come a long way.
This one.
Oh,
Yes.
no, I'm the one that books everybody. I like being on this. I like being on this side of it.
She is a phenomenal speaker, and she has an amazing story from everything that we've been through, and so many people want to hear that story. They read the Trident, and she's all through that, and it's been something that's been asked over the years, man, is Erica going to be with you? Will Erica speak? But she feels the same way. She is intimidated by speaking. It's the number one fear on this planet, standing in front of a group of people and delivering a speech. But if you can learn to do that, you don't even have to be a public speaker. It is the number one thing that will accelerate your growth and ability to find greater success. Your ability to deliver a message. As a leader, as the head of a company, as the head of a family, your ability to talk is critical, is amazing in this life. And if you can learn to do it, you will find bigger success.
I'll tell you one person who has no problem with it is Mel Chansey. He's really the guy that'll get in front of that camera and just go. Yeah. And he's got a great delivery too. And it's I watch him. He makes it look easy, right? And so does Jason. And you know, you guys were on my brother-in-law's podcast with John, which was one of the best podcasts I've probably ever heard in my life.
Yeah, he said it was one of his favorites.
It was unbelievable. I mean, John still calls me and he's like, dude, that Jason Redman is unbelievable. And that podcast just was like,
I got to keep sending him those checks.
It was like, oh, do you really? Yeah, good. Yeah. Hey, can you break me off? I put it together. So I was in Chicago with Jason, and I heard him speak 2.5 years ago at an event that we were at together. And I was like, God, the whole time he's speaking. And I saw we were sitting before he spoke, and we hadn't spoken yet. So I strategically moved my seat when he was seating and sat down where I knew he was going to go sit back. But I was like, hey, man, can I get your phone number? You know, and I was like, I want to connect you with my brother-in-law. And, you know, I told him some time went by, and, you know, everyone's busy and stuff. But, you know, amazing podcast. And, you know, he's just an amazing guy in general, and just, you know, had a blast with you. And I think for me, you know, the business, the entrepreneur side of me is pretty seasoned. I feel really comfortable with that stuff, but getting better in the whole picture for me is very important by the time I hang the gloves up if I ever decide to. And, having, you, Mel, John especially, who's pretty good in front of a camera, we can agree on. And those are things that, I look up to. And by becoming a part of your community, those are all things that you offer. So if you guys are out there and discounted in one direction, Jason's got it covered, not only by him, but from the rest of his community. So that coaching group is definitely an important thing to take advantage of. So Jay, real high level, and I know you've told the story a million times. Can you do me a favor and give the balance of the audience? You spoke for 30 minutes at my house in South Carolina. Can you talk real quick about your change in the military? And I mean, it's just a story that I love, of how you were kind of outcasted, can I say, or pushed away.
It was.
And really took it on the chin and didn't give up, and what that looked like over that period of time.
Yeah, so I mean, I was young when I joined the military. I mean, I was still in high school. I was 17 when I joined, and did real well. I mean, I see this a lot in individuals who are young but achieve a high level of success, and I was successful in the SEAL teams. Enough so that, quite a few people were like, hey, this guy should get a commission. Applied, got picked up for a commissioning program, went to school, continued to excel, and came back to the SEAL teams thinking, man, I'm ready, man. I'm like God's gift to leadership. I'm going to turn this place on its ear, I mean, and unfortunately with that, I carried a pretty high level of arrogance and made some bad calls as a young leader, did not handle some situations well, and all that culminated with a bad call on a mission in Afghanistan. And that, thankfully, no one was killed, no one was injured, but it killed my credibility. It killed my professional reputation. And there were guys who were like, kick this guy out. Very hard to be told that you don't measure up within a community that is incredibly difficult to become a part of was really rock bottom for me. I mean, I thought about killing myself. And I also thought about leaving the military. I didn't think that I could overcome those obstacles, And thankfully, like anything in life, sometimes having people in your corner. Erica was someone in my corner who still supported and didn't judge me. And what was amazing is she really supported me no matter what. She wasn't like, hey, you have to stay in the military. She was like, I'm here for you, whichever direction. And I don't want to steal her thunder. So I'll finish with part of Ranger School and I'll kick it back over to her. But yeah, I had some individuals that believed in me and gave me a second chance. And that really became a new journey. And I think any good leader, one of the strongest things you can have as a leader is self-awareness. Most often there's a disconnect between how we see ourselves and how the world really sees us and we project. And if you can bring those things together, it can be really powerful and understand both your strengths and weaknesses, because we all got them, including me, for sure. And that journey started in Ranger School, kind of at rock bottom, where I had to build myself back up, had to go through some hard moments, and thankfully come back to the SEAL teams and rebuild my credibility as a leader to really come back at the end of my career and leave very respected when I left the community after, combat deployment, being wounded, and all these things. So,
can I just jump in real quick?
Yeah.
It's I'm surrounded by some of your current and past peers. At the event, you had a few guys there that I think you were on teams with, and both of them grabbed me, and it was like really impactful. They go, "See that guy over there?" I'm like, "Yeah, Jason." Like, that dude was not anything like that now, that he is now back then. He really, by the time he was done in the military, held in such high regard. But there were some points there where it was scary, and he goes, "That I'm telling you that not because." To point anything out crazy, but he's a success story, yeah. And which was unbelievable. It's great to see that, because you think of Navy SEAL as just like perfect individual soldier that just doesn't do anything off kilter, just there for the team, and we all make mistakes. But most people make mistakes and they go hide under a rock. To make a mistake and redeem yourself really shows your true colors. So congratulations to that, Erica.
No, I was just going to say, you know, I think for me going through that time, he was, you know, hard enough on himself. You know, he was his own worst enemy at that time. So he really didn't need me, you know, poking or, you know, making it any worse. So, you know, I think sometimes it's important, you know, as a team to know, you know, when is that time to push somebody or whatever. And for me during that, like, I was going to be supportive no matter what. If he was getting out of the military, great. Well, we're going to figure this out. Like, you're staying in. Okay, we're going to figure this out. So, I mean, for me, I just felt like it was important for me to, like, hold down the house, hold down, you know, the home front, and really just to be that person that regardless of what happened. And, you know, I think it was hard for me. You know, it took several years for him to actually say, okay, I messed up. Like, this wasn't like overnight that this
I
light.
can't relate to that.
Yeah, that light switch went off. You know, eventually he was like, oh, I really messed up. And, you know, and this was one of the best things that ever happened to me. That didn't happen overnight. That was definitely,
Don't know it in the moment.
that was a journey. But I think for me, you know, I knew why he became an officer. I knew what his intentions were. I knew that they were good, and so my job was just, you know, to stand by him regardless of what happened.
Well,
I was just going to say, I love that about my book, because a lot of people who read that book, or they want to give me shit about the book, you know, military members, you know, oh, you wrote a SEAL book, you know, you talk about how great you were and how hard Buds was. And I'm like, no, it's actually, it's a book about failure
and humility
and growing up.
Yeah.
And that's so amazing. I love the people who read it and they thought that that's what they were going to read, another chest pounding, and they come back, and I get so many people to write me and say, wow, I did not expect that.
I think we get a lot of people that feel sorry for
And then they do. They're like, and wow, your daughter, I mean, your wife really married down.
The book, you know?
So, but I mean, it's such a great message that it's never too late to fix yourself, to redeem yourself. You know, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you've made a mistake, maybe you messed up your marriage or your business, or you fucked up. I'm living proof that you can come back from almost anything. And man, it's such a big message that I try and deliver to people.
So, give me one success story you guys have seen from Core Medical Group, and then we're gonna wrap it up here. You,
I mean,
that's what I was looking for. So, guys, be careful with your comments, okay? Because Jason still has it in him, but her before and after pictures are absolutely stunning. Yeah. She put the work in, paid attention. I thought I was going to lose my life the day that I told her, "Listen, I can take 25 pounds off you at that Roger Up event." But I'm brutally honest like that, and I tell people, you know, that I feel like, you know, that Core can help. You know, there's options out there, and just like you just said, there's so much stuff you guys offer that you didn't even wear. Just the other company.
Well,
that
I mean,
you were
and
with.
the weight's one thing, but you know, my cholesterol was high, and I had gained weight. I had no energy. I was having hot flashes, and hot flashes were gone. Energy level was better. You know, I lost 40 pounds, and the cholesterol fixed itself. Like, so, I mean, the weight's great, but it was, you know, it was the whole package. And, you know, so no, I have no problem being Core's cheerleader. And I'm like, you know,
it's amazing.
And, but
I love it.
You called me, it's like it was my birthday. You should have seen this dress. I'm like, Jay, slow down. She's like, no, you can look. I know she's mine.
But it's not only me. I mean, so since then, I mean, my hairdresser, who I've known for 15 years, other friends, I mean, my story is not alone. I mean, I have
Billboard.
now, you know, I have
Billboard.
a handful of people, you know, friends that have lost anywhere between 15 and 30 pounds. So it's, I'm not a one-off. Yeah.
Stuff. I think we have a special guest here that wants to.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I love bombarding.
Mr. Melton.
This week. You know, guys, give us 2 minutes. We're gonna wrap it up. We're going now.
You can't keep me out of here. I've loved just interrupting his podcast. But listen, I want to chime in because I want to tell you this on behalf of the team. We love you. You are an amazing person, and you are the conduit that kind of brings all of us misfits together.
Yeah.
I call it the bad news bears, right? I don't know if that's
you guys are
you're
just saying you're following a major
I don't know if that's
misfit
good,
right now.
bad, but you are the conduit, bro. And you know what? Here's what I'm going to say about being with you for 6 years. You always see something good in somebody.
Yeah.
You always do. I'm going to give you credit for that. You always see the good in somebody. It's been a few times where I'm like, hey, let's cut and run.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, let's give them a chance. Let's see. So, it's amazing. And being there this morning on that round table and hearing everybody talk from Erica, because I know what a great support team is at home because I have an amazing wife that is my support team. I don't know where we bank. I don't know what's in the bank. Try telling other men that, right? They look at me like, "What? Are you nuts? Like I don't know. I don't want to know because I trust in my wife to do all that." And that support team is great. And that's what we had. And being on that panel today and watching these alpha men, the Cody Alfords, the Jasons, all of us alpha men that were on there, and to say that it's okay to reach out to somebody and ask for help or say, hey, I can't figure this out. Can I get some help? Very, very important. And I said this earlier on the podcast that I did. That's important. But today I was very proud to be there and very thankful. So, and we love you for that.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks so much, and we'll have a great day tomorrow.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing. Mel, thanks. I love you, brother.
Yeah,
I love Bombard.
absolutely.
Yeah.